What if I told you that the difference between families who stay wealthy for generations and those who struggle forever isn't income? It's how they use debt? I know, that sounds backwards. Most of us were raised to believe debt is dangerous, irresponsible, and something to avoid at all costs. We were told to pay everything off as fast as possible and never borrow unless it's an emergency. But what if that advice is only half the truth? Today I'm going to show you how the wealthy see debt very differently. To them, debt isn't a burden, it's a strategic tool. And when used correctly, it becomes one of the most powerful ways to build long-term and generational wealth. If you've ever heard phrases like debt is bad or never owe anyone anything, this video might completely change how you look at money. Because here's the reality most people never learn. Debt itself doesn't make people poor. Bad debt and poor strategy do. There's a huge difference between borrowing to fund a lifestyle and borrowing to buy assets. Wealthy people use debt to acquire things that grow in value and generate income, allowing the asset to pay for the debt over time. So stick with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to break down how to use debt the smart way, the same way wealthy families do, and how you can turn it into a ladder for financial freedom instead of a chain that holds you back. Section 1. Shifting your money mindset. Before we talk about building wealth, we need to clear up one major misunderstanding about money, because this is where most people get stuck. Not all debt is the same. In fact, there are two very different types of debt, and knowing the difference can completely change your financial future. The first type is bad debt. This is the kind of debt most people are familiar with and afraid of. Bad debt is used to buy things that lose value the moment you purchase them. It drains your income every month, keeps you stressed about bills, and forces you to keep working just to stay afloat. You borrow the money, but instead of the debt helping you grow, you end up working for the debt. Over time, it quietly steals your freedom. Then there's smart debt, and this is where wealthy families think differently. Smart debt is used to acquire assets, not liabilities. Assets are things that increase in value or generate income over time. Instead of taking money out of your pocket, smart debt puts money back into it. While you sleep, while you work, while you live your life, these assets are quietly producing cash flow and building equity for you. This is why wealthy people don't panic at the word debt. They don't immediately ask, how fast can I get rid of this loan? That's the question people ask when debt is hurting them. Wealthy people ask a very different question. Will this debt make me more money than it cost me? If the answer is yes, if the asset can pay for the debt and still leave profit, then the debt is doing its job. It's working for them, not against them. This mindset shift is critical. Poor and middle-class families are taught to avoid debt entirely. Wealthy families are taught to evaluate debt strategically. They understand that debt, when used correctly, is a tool. It's just like a hammer. In the wrong hands, it can cause damage. But in the right hands, it can be used to build something powerful and lasting. Once you stop seeing debt as the enemy and start seeing it as a strategy, you unlock a completely new way of thinking about wealth. And that's the first step toward financial freedom and generational success. Section 2. How the wealthy leverage debt. Now that we've shifted the mindset around debt, let's break down how smart debt actually works, because this is where wealthy families truly separate themselves from everyone else. Step 1. They borrow to buy assets, not liabilities. Wealthy people don't take on debt to fund lifestyles or impress others. Instead, they borrow to acquire assets, things that either increase in value or generate income over time. This includes real estate, businesses, and income-producing investments. The goal is simple but powerful. The asset must pay for the debt. If the cash flow from the asset covers the loan payments and still leaves extra income, that debt is no longer a burden, it's leverage. Rather than draining their personal income, the asset does the heavy lifting. This is why wealthy individuals focus on cash flow first. They ask, will this investment put money back into my pocket every month? If the answer is yes, the debt is working for them, not against them. Step 2. They learn how to use other people's money. One of the biggest wealth-building advantages of the wealthy is their relationship with borrowed capital. They don't see banks as enemies. They see them as strategic partners. Instead of waiting years to save up the full amount to invest, they use loans to move faster and scale bigger opportunities. By using other people's money, They can control larger assets while preserving their own cash for additional investments. This approach allows them to grow smarter, not harder. While others are stuck saving, wealthy individuals are already benefiting from appreciation, cash flow, and experience. Time becomes their greatest ally, and leverage helps them accelerate growth without burning themselves out. Step 3. They allow inflation to work in their favor. This is one of the most overlooked advantages of smart debt. Inflation quietly increases the cost of living for most people, making everyday expenses more expensive year after year. But for asset owners with long-term fixed debt, inflation can actually be a hidden advantage. When you borrow money today and lock in the loan, inflation slowly reduces the real value of that debt over time. Meanwhile, assets like real estate and businesses often rise in price and increase their income as inflation goes up. In simple terms, your debt stays the same, but your asset becomes more valuable and produces more income, making the debt easier to manage over time. This is why wealthy families think long-term. They don't fear inflation, they plan for it. They combine asset ownership, borrowed capital, and time to create powerful financial leverage. When you understand these 3 steps, buying assets, using other people's money, and leveraging inflation, you begin to see why debt, when used wisely, is one of the most powerful tools for building lasting and generational wealth. Let me break this down in the simplest way possible, because this is where everything starts to make sense. Imagine you take out a loan to buy a rental property. At first, that might sound scary, because most people have been taught that borrowing money automatically means stress and struggle. But stay with me. Instead of you paying the mortgage every month from your salary, someone else does. Your tenant moves in, pays rent, and that rent covers the mortgage, the interest, and even some of the expenses. Now here's where the magic happens. While your tenant is paying down the loan, the property itself is quietly increasing in value over time. Year after year, as the area develops and prices rise, the asset becomes more valuable. And the entire time, you're not just paying off debt, you're building equity. You're owning more and more of the property with money that didn't come from your pocket. Fast forward several years, the mortgage is paid off, the debt is gone, but the asset remains. That property now belongs to you outright, and it continues to generate income month after month. That income can pay for your lifestyle, be reinvested into more assets, or be passed down to your children. The debt did its job and then disappeared. This is the key difference between destructive debt and strategic debt. Destructive debt leaves you with nothing once it's paid off. Strategic debt leaves you with something valuable, something that continues to work for you long after the loan is gone. That's how wealthy families think. They don't fear debt, they focus on what the debt creates. And this strategy doesn't stop with real estate. The same principle applies to buying businesses, investing in cash-flowing ventures, or acquiring assets that generate consistent income. The goal is always the same. Use borrowed money to build something that lasts. So when people say debt will ruin your life, understand this. Debt itself isn't the problem. Unplanned debt is. Debt without strategy is. But when debt is backed by an income-producing asset, it stops being a burden and starts becoming a builder of your future. That's not debt destroying you. That's debt working for you. That's debt building your wealth and your legacy. Section 3. The Generational Wealth Strategy. This is where everything comes together. This is where generational wealth truly begins. Most people think wealth is about how much money you make in your lifetime. But wealthy families know a different truth. Real wealth is about what continues to produce value long after you're gone. That's the difference between short-term success and generational impact. Here's how generational wealth actually works. When you use smart debt to acquire assets, those assets don't disappear when you stop working. They can be passed down, properties can be inherited, businesses can be transferred, investment portfolios can continue to grow. Unlike income from a job, which ends the moment you stop working, assets create continuity. They keep working across generations. This is why income streams matter more than paychecks. A salary supports one lifetime. An income-generating asset can support many. Rental income, business profits, dividends. These streams don't care whether you're awake, asleep, or even alive. They continue producing value, providing security and opportunity for the next generation. And here's the powerful part most people miss. The debt eventually disappears, but the asset remains. Smart debt has a lifespan. Mortgages get paid off, business loans end. But once that happens, the wealth created by that debt doesn't vanish. What's left is ownership, clean, cash-flowing assets with no debt attached. That's when true financial freedom begins. This is why there's such a massive difference between families that struggle and families that thrive over time. Poor families often pass down bills, financial stress, and survival thinking. Wealthy families pass down businesses, properties, investments, and, most importantly, systems. Systems for managing money. Systems for investing. Systems for thinking long-term. It's not just about money. It's about education, structure, and strategy. Children who grow up in asset-owning families inherit more than wealth. They inherit knowledge. They learn how money works, how debt is used responsibly, and how to make strategic financial decisions. Generational wealth isn't built overnight. It's built intentionally. One smart decision at a time, one asset at a time, one system at a time. And the goal isn't luxury, it's legacy. It's about giving your children and grandchildren options instead of obligations, opportunity instead of survival, freedom instead of financial fear. So remember this: bills expire, but assets endure. Debt is temporary, but ownership is lasting. And when used wisely, smart debt becomes the bridge between where your family is today and where you want them to be for generations to come. So don't make these mistakes. Now pay close attention. This part is crucial because while debt can be one of the most powerful tools for building wealth, it can also destroy you if used carelessly. First rule: never borrow without a plan. Taking on debt without a clear strategy is like driving a car blindfolded. You might move forward, but you're heading straight for trouble. Every loan, every investment, every financial move should have a purpose. Is it generating income, creating equity, or building assets? If the answer is no, don't do it. Second rule: do not use debt to impress others. Buying flashy cars, luxury items, or status symbols with borrowed money doesn't make you wealthy. It makes you a hostage to your debt. Wealth isn't about looking rich. It's about creating lasting financial freedom. Third rule: do not confuse lifestyle debt with wealth debt. There's a huge difference between debt that drains your wallet and debt that builds your future. One takes money out, the other puts money in. Smart debt generates income and appreciation. Lifestyle debt only generates stress. Here's the bottom line: debt is powerful, but power without discipline is dangerous. Used the wrong way, it can trap you for decades. Used the right way, it can be the ladder that lifts you to financial freedom. So before you take out that loan or sign that agreement, ask yourself, will this move build my wealth, or will it just make me work harder for someone else's money? Remember, discipline, strategy, and patience turn debt from a potential trap into one of the most effective tools for building lasting wealth. Generational wealth isn't about avoiding debt, it's about mastering it. When used strategically, debt becomes a ladder to financial freedom, not a chain holding you back. If this video changed how you think about money, hit the like button. Subscribe for more valuable finance-related contents. And comment below, what's one money belief you're ready to unlearn?